The Garden of Silent Statues. Jason walked slowly through the thick blue mist covering the alien forest of planet Nixara. His boots made soft sounds on the glowing moss as he pushed past giant flowers that opened and closed like mouths. He had crash-landed here 2 days ago and was searching for anything that could help him fix his ship. But what he found was far more strange than broken parts or signals. In front of him stood a large stone gate, half covered in vines. Behind it was silence. Deep silence. That made his skin crawl. He stepped through and froze. Dozens of statues stood in the garden beyond the gate. Each one looked real. Too real. They were aliens of different kinds. Some with wings. Some with tails. Some tall and noble. But all frozen in on fear or pain. Some reached out as if trying to escape. Others covered their faces like they were screaming. Jason's hand moved to the sidearm on his belt. This was not natural. He whispered to himself. Who did this? And why? As he walked carefully between the statues, he noticed one that looked different. It was only half stone. The lower body was gray and hard, but the upper half, her chest, arms, and face, was still alive. It was a girl. An alien girl with silver blue hair and glowing violet eyes. Her mouth moved, but no sound came out. Jason stepped closer and knelt beside her. He gently touched her hand. It was cold like stone, but soft at the fingertips. Suddenly she gasped. Her lips trembled. Her voice was weak and shaky. Don't touch me. The curse. It will take you. Jason didn't move away. He looked into her eyes. Who are you? What is this place? The girl blinked slowly. My name is Velia. This is the Garden of the Cursed. We were part of the Nixaran royal bloodline. We came to protect the temple, but one of us broke the rule. She touched the heartstone. Jason looked around. What's that? She pointed to a broken path leading deeper into the overgrown garden. There in the center of the temple lies a crystal. It holds a power too ancient. If you touch it without permission, it curses you. Slowly turns you to stone. Jason frowned. Then why are you still half alive? She looked down at herself. Because I fought it. But now I'm tired. I can't move anymore. I don't have much time. Jason stood up and looked around. I need to get you out of here. There must be a way to stop it. No. She shook her head. If you carry me, it will spread to you. I am not worth your life. Human Jason looked at her with a calm, steady gaze. He had seen war. He had seen in death. But something about this alien girl, this helpless soul left behind, it felt wrong to leave. He smiled. You don't get to decide that. He gently picked her up. Her legs were fully stone now, but her arms clung weakly to his neck. He could feel her heartbeat. Still there. Still fighting as he carried her out of the garden. A deep sound echoed through the forest like stone grinding on stone. Velia's eyes widened in fear. It's coming. The Guardian. Jason didn't ask what that meant. He just ran, through the trees, over roots. Under broken archways behind them, the statues began to vibrate. Dust falling from their bodies. And somewhere behind the mist, something heavy began to move. Jason didn't know what he had stepped into, but he knew one thing. He wasn't leaving her behind. Not now. Not ever. If there was hope, even a small one, he would find it, even if it meant facing the ancient power that turned living beings to stone. And somewhere deep in the forest, a single red eye opened, watching the human who dared defy the curse of the crystal touch. Jason found shelter in a hollow tree beneath the roots of a giant plant that pulsed with soft green light. Rain began to fall from the glowing purple sky as he laid Velia gently against the wall of the tree. Her breaths were shallow, her legs now fully stone, and tiny veins of gray were crawling up her waist. He looked at her with concern. She was fading. He had no medicine, no tools, just questions. Why did that crystal do this? Why was a temple allowed to exist with such a cruel curse? And why did her voice stay in his head? Even when she was quiet, Velia opened her eyes slowly. Her voice was barely a whisper. "You should have left me." Jason shook his head. "You said this happened when someone touched the Heartstone." "What is it? What does it do?" Velia blinked. Once, then twice, as if pulling memories from deep inside. "The Heartstone is the soul of the temple. It's ancient, older than our cities. It gives power to those worthy, but it punishes those who are not." Jason leaned closer. "How do you become worthy?" She looked at him. Really looked. For the first time without fear. "You need to be pure, honest, selfless. The stone reads your soul, not your mind." Jason felt a cold breeze enter the tree. It chilled him more than the rain. "So you touched it?" Velia turned her face away. "I didn't mean to. I wanted to protect it. Someone was trying to steal it. I only tried to stop them. But it saw me as unworthy." Jason sat beside her, his mind running in circles. The statues. He saw. They weren't just random victims. They were people like her. People who failed the test. He stood up. "There has to be a way to reverse it." "There is." Her voice was soft but clear. "One way. But it's dangerous." Jason looked down at her. "Tell me." She hesitated. "The curse is part magic, part emotion. It lives inside the heart. To fight it, you need something stronger than fear. You need warmth. From someone whose soul is not cursed. A human like you." Jason blinked. "You mean I can? Stop it." "Maybe." She coughed lightly, but it requires a deep connection. A bond. If your feelings are not real. If you only want to save me out of pity, the curse will take you. 2. Jason looked at her hands. They were shaking. Still flesh, but turning cold. "Don't do things out of pity," he said calmly. "I help because it's right." A strange silence followed, as if even the tree was listening. Suddenly the ground trembled. Not like thunder, but like footsteps. Heavy, unnatural. Velia's eyes opened wide. "The Guardian. It's awake." Jason stepped outside through the vines. He saw it. A towering beast of stone and crystal, shaped like a giant four-legged creature. Its chest glowed with blue lines, and one massive red eye searched the forest. It was sniffing. Hunting. Jason returned inside. He whispered, "We need to move." Velia tried to sit, but the stone had reached her waist. She fell back. Tears filled her eyes. Jason didn't wait. He picked her up again, ignoring the chill from her skin, ignoring the pulse of magic crawling into his arms. He ran through thick leaves, over wet stones, under fallen statues, each one watching him with frozen eyes behind him. The Guardian let out a roar. The sound shook the trees. Birds flew into the air, and even the wind seemed to retreat. Jason found an old trail. It looked like it hadn't been used for years, but the markings on the ground glowed faintly, symbols of a forgotten path. He followed them. Velia clutched his shirt. "There's a place. Deep in the forest. A memory. Shrine. That's where the ritual begins." Jason didn't ask questions now. He only ran. The rain hit harder. The sky flashed with violet lightning, and the ground cracked as the guardian chased them. Minutes felt like hours. But finally, the trail opened into a quiet glade. In the center was a circle of stones, and in the middle, an ancient tree made of silver wood and glowing leaves. Velia pointed. "That's it. Put me there." Jason rushed to the tree, laid her against its base. She reached for his hand, her voice trembling. "This place reads truth. It knows what's in your heart. Only if your soul shines will the curse weaken." Jason stared at her, then looked at his hands. The veins on his wrists had started to gray. The curse was trying to spread. But he didn't step back. He held her hand tighter, his voice steady, "Then let it see my heart." And as their hands joined, the air around them shimmered. The tree glowed brighter, and the guardian suddenly stopped at the edge of the glade, watching, waiting. Something ancient had awakened, and the trial had just begun. The memory locked in stone. The air shimmered around Jason and Velia like waves of invisible heat. But it wasn't heat. It was something deeper, something older. The ground beneath the silver tree pulsed like a heartbeat. Soft, slow, alive. Jason didn't understand what was happening. But he didn't let go of Velia's hand, even as cold began creeping up his wrist, even as his fingers started to feel stiff. She squeezed back weakly, her eyes glowing with dim violet light. The glade around them felt like it had fallen out of time. The rain didn't reach here. The wind stopped. Even the sound of the guardian vanished, like it was forbidden from entering. Suddenly, the tree's silver bark opened like a door, not broken, not split, but melting inward, revealing a spiral of glowing steps leading down into darkness. Velia opened her lips. "That's the memory chamber. You have to go inside. It will show you what happened long ago." Jason nodded once, then carefully lowered her to the base of the tree. He stepped toward the stairs, but Velia's voice stopped him. "Whatever you see, don't look away. Even if it hurts, even if it feels too real, you must witness it all." He nodded again and vanished into the light inside. The walls pulsed with memory strands, like rivers of glass carrying moving images. He saw scenes frozen in motion, aliens dancing in a great hall, warriors standing proud in gold armor, a child crying over a broken statue. Everything moved, but also stood still, like watching dreams through water. Jason touched one of the memory strands. It burst into life. He found himself standing in a large open chamber, thousands of years in the past, watching the royal Nixaran people gather before the Heartstone. The Heartstone floated above a pedestal, glowing with a gentle white light. Pure, inviting, beautiful. A young Nixaran girl, Velia, but younger, reached toward it, her face full of fear, but also determination. "No," Jason wanted to shout. "Don't do it." But he couldn't speak. He was just a ghost. Here, a watcher. Suddenly, another alien. A dark figure in a robe pushed forward. He tried to steal the Heartstone. Velia jumped in front of him, grabbed it by mistake. The light turned red, then black. The curse began instantly. Stone cracked up her legs. She screamed. The others backed away, even her family, even the queen herself. They feared the curse more than they loved her. Jason felt the pain deep in his chest. So much fear, so much betrayal. No one helped her. No one tried. Except another scene appeared, a human, an explorer from Earth. He looked older than Jason, tired, wounded, but kind. He found Velia years later, still half stone. He tried to help her. He brought light to the shrine. He offered his warmth. But when the time came, he stepped back, afraid, and the curse took her fully. Jason watched as the human screamed, but the statue never moved again. The memory ended. Jason stumbled back, breathing hard, his heart pounded. The tree spoke to him now, not in words but feelings. This is your chance. Will you run like the last one? Or will you stay? Jason clenched his fists. He looked at his own hands now. Pale gray stone creeping faster. He didn't care. Not anymore. He turned and climbed the spiral back up. Velia was waiting at the top. Barely conscious, her lips dry, her voice like air. You saw it, didn't you? Jason sat beside her. Yes, I saw everything. She looked away. Then, you know you should leave. Jason placed both hands on her face gently, firmly, his voice quiet but full of fire. I'm not him. I'm not running. The moment their eyes locked, the glade responded. The silver tree lit up. The ground trembled. And above them, the sky turned gold. Velia gasped. The curse inside her burned, but also pulled, like something was being pulled out. Jason held her tighter, even as the stone reached his elbows, even as pain shot through his veins. He didn't scream. He didn't cry. He only whispered one thing. You're not alone anymore. Tears slid from Velia's eye, but it didn't freeze. It shimmered, and in the distance, the Guardian watched, unmoving, unblinking. For the first time in centuries, a human had returned to the shrine, and this time, the story might end differently. The Guardian awakens. The golden light above the glade slowly faded into silver mist, and the stillness returned. Jason leaned back against the tree, breathing hard, his arms now laced with dark stone patterns that shimmered faintly under his skin. Velia lay beside him, her eyes half closed, but she was no longer fading. Her chest moved steadily. Her hands, once stiff, trembled with returning life. Jason looked at her and saw color slowly returning to her skin. It was working. But he also knew this wasn't over. A sound tore through the silence, like the deep grinding of a mountain. Waking from sleep, slow, but powerful. The earth around them vibrated. Leaves dropped from the silver tree in glowing flakes. Velia opened her eyes. Her voice came in a sharp whisper. It's him. The Guardian. Jason stood up. From the far end of the glade, the shadows twisted. Something massive moved behind the trees. The Guardian stepped into the clearing. A towering creature made of stone plates and crystal bones. Its head was like a lion's skull, but twice the size of Jason's body. Its red eye burned with old judgment, and at the center of its chest, a glowing blue core pulsed with strange life. Jason didn't move. He stood between Velia and the Guardian, his arms trembling, not with fear, but with the weight of what he had seen. The Guardian paused, then spoke, not with a voice, but straight into Jason's mind. You were shown the past. You know the failure. Why do you repeat the path? Jason clenched his jaw. Because I'm not afraid to care, even if it breaks me. The Guardian stepped closer. With each step, the ground cracked. The silver grass died. The glade darkened. You think care is enough. You think emotion breaks the curse. But you do not carry the cost. Jason took a step forward, then another. He raised his arms. Let the stone shimmer in the dim light. It's already spreading. I've taken the curse because I chose to, and I'll carry it. As far as I have to. The Guardian stopped. Silence fell like thunder. Then the great beast lowered its head, and for a moment, Jason thought it would bow. But instead, its chest opened, revealing a second heartstone this. One cracked, bleeding, light, raw, and unstable. Velia gasped. The final trial. He's offering it. Jason looked back at her. What does it mean? She sat up weakly, legs still hard, but her upper body now moving with effort. You must touch it. Let it read you. All of you, if it accepts you. The curse ends. For both of us, and if it doesn't. Velia looked down. Then we both turned to stone. Forever. Jason walked slowly toward the heartstone. The air grew heavy. Each step felt like walking through water or through the memory of fire. He reached the pedestal in the guardian's chest. The crystal pulsed softly. Like it was waiting, he placed his hand on it, instantly. His mind was pulled inward. He stood in a room made of stars. No floor. No ceiling. Just thoughts. His childhood. His pain. His failures. All laid bare, the memory of his mother's death. The fear in his father's eyes. The loneliness after his squad vanished during war. The days he wanted to give up. The nights he pretended to be okay, and beneath it, all a quiet voice. A simple truth I still want to protect, even when it hurts, even when I'm not strong. The heartstone pulsed again, and Jason felt heat. Real burning, he opened his eyes and screamed, back in the glade. His skin cracked with light. The curse surged, trying to protect itself, fighting the truth. But he didn't let go. Velia screamed too, not from pain, but from something leaving her. The curse tore itself from her body, in ribbons of smoke and stone, and rushed into the air. The guardian reared back, roaring in silence, its red eye shattering like glass. The glade burst with white light, and then silence. Jason collapsed to the ground, breathing alive, the gray on his arms fading slowly, but surely. Velia crawled to him, tears in her eyes. Jason, Jason. He opened one eye, smiled. Told you I'm not running above them. The guardian shattered into pieces, stone falling like ash. The trial was over, but something deeper had just begun. The bond of hope. Jason lay flat on the ground, his breaths shallow. His hands still tingled from the power that surged through him. But he was alive. And more than that, so was she. Velia leaned over him, her hand hovering above his chest. Her silver blue, hair now fully freed from the stone. Her skin warm again. She had color in her cheeks. Tears sparkled in her eyes as she whispered his name. Jason. You did it. You saved me. He blinked slowly. A weak smile tugged at his lips. Not yet. Still feel like I've been hit by a comet. Velia laughed through tears. It was the first sound of joy that had touched the cursed forest in centuries. She touched his cheek gently, her fingers light, cautious like she wasn't sure if he was still real. Jason reached up, took her hand. Yeah, still here. Still stupid enough to try. They sat together under the remains of the silver tree, its leaves now pale white, drifting down like soft snow. The glade had changed. The darkness was gone. The sky above was brighter bluer, like the planet itself had taken a breath. But something wasn't finished. Jason could feel it. The curse was broken, but not erased. Something still pulsed under the ground, faint, distant, but waiting. Velia noticed it too. Her smile faded slightly. The heartstone didn't just test you, it marked you. You carry part of it. Now, Jason flexed his fingers. They still shimmered faintly with glowing lines. So, I'm cursed. No. She shook her head. You're linked to me. to this world. Jason looked at her, studied her face. The fear was gone, but something deeper remained. Sadness. Memory, you said this happened before. That another human tried and failed. Velia nodded. He was kind. But he feared what came next. The bond that forms after the ritual. It scared him, he thought. It was control, not connection. Jason leaned back, let his head rest against the tree. And this bond. What is it exactly? Velia looked away, then back softly. It's something ancient. When a soul offers itself to save another, the link becomes permanent. Not slavery, not magic. Something deeper, trust, unbreakable. Jason raised an eyebrow. So I'm bonded to an alien girl I just met. Forever. She laughed again, her voice light. Only if you want it. Jason looked at her for a long moment. The silence between them wasn't awkward. It was full. Heavy honest. I do. He said finally, I meant it when I stayed. I didn't do it just to be a hero. I did it because I saw you. Not a cursed girl, but someone worth saving. Velia didn't speak. She moved closer, pressed her forehead to his. A silent thank you, more powerful than words. A soft hum filled the air. Jason turned his head. A glowing path had appeared at the edge of the glade, blue stones floating in the air, leading into the hills. Velia looked at it with awe. The sanctuary. It's opening again. What is it? A place of healing, of knowledge. Only those who pass the trial can enter. No one has seen it for hundreds of years. Jason stood slowly, still sore but steadier. Then, let's go see what they've been hiding, she nodded. He offered his hand. She took it without hesitation. Together, they stepped onto the glowing path, and the world around them shifted. The cursed land was gone. The statues that once lined the garden had vanished. Freed. The trees straightened. The mist lifted, and the air tasted new. Velia walked with strength. Her steps now light, as if the forest itself welcomed her home. Jason kept looking at her, noticing things he hadn't before. The faint light in her hair, the grace in her movement, the fire behind her soft voice. He didn't just save her. He was starting to know her, and something told him. This journey was far from over ahead. The sanctuary's gates waited, carved with stars lit from within. Velia squeezed his hand. Not every human would do what you did. Jason looked at her, a half smile on his face. Maybe, but I'm not every human. And as they stepped through the gates, something ancient whispered in the wind. 2 souls, 1 bond. The curse is broken, but destiny has just begun. The final choice. The sanctuary was not built by hands. It was carved by memory and time. Jason stepped through the glowing gates with Velia by his side, and for a moment, he forgot the pain in his arms, the curse marks on his skin, and even the terror of the guardian that once hunted them. Everything here pulsed with light, walls shaped like flowing water symbols in the air that moved when he blinked, floating books that turned their own pages, trees with silver bark growing from crystal floors, and at the center, an altar. Not for worship, but for truth. Velia stopped, her voice barely above a whisper. This is where the first bonds were made, before even my people remembered. The sanctuary holds the final decision. Jason looked at her. You mean we're not done? She turned to face him. Fully now. No fear in her eyes. Just clarity. The bond is formed. Yes, but now the sanctuary will ask one last question. Jason raised a brow. Which is, will you keep the bond? or break it. Jason's chest tightened. Break it after. Everything. Velia stepped toward the altar, her voice steadier now. If we keep the bond, you remain marked, tied to this world. Your path will never be your own again. And if I break it, she paused, you go free. The marks will fade. Your body will heal. No curse. No link. No memories. You'll forget. Jason felt his heart slow. Forget her. Forget all of it. He looked at his hands. The stone pattern shimmered. They didn't hurt anymore. They felt like a part of him now. A reminder of what he chose. The altar lit up, a soft hum rising from deep below. And the question formed in light between them. Keep the bond. Or break the bond. Jason looked at Velia and saw her pain. Not from the curse, but from the fear he might choose to walk away. She stood silent, brave, letting him decide. He remembered her first words in the garden. Don't touch me. The curse will spread. He remembered carrying her through mist and darkness, holding her hand at the shrine, fighting through visions of pain, watching the guardian fall. And her eyes when she laughed for the first time. He stepped forward, looked the light in the face, and spoke without doubt. Keep it, the sanctuary reacted. A pulse of white light shot through the floor. Symbols raced across the walls. The trees glowed brighter, and the altar opened to reveal a crystal sphere. Pale blue like Velia's eyes. Jason touched it. Energy flowed into him. Warm, alive, and the marks on his arms stopped glowing. Settled, no longer a curse, but a connection. Velia fell to her knees. Tears in her eyes. She smiled. You didn't have to. You had a choice. Jason knelt beside her and wiped the tears with his thumb. I know. That's what makes it real. They stood together. The sanctuary now silent again, but peaceful, complete. The sphere faded back into the altar, and the gates behind them opened wider. Outside, the forest of Nixara was in bloom. The curse that once darkened the land had lifted, and the statues that filled the garden were now empty pedestals. Their souls freed, Jason walked into the sunlight with Velia. Not as strangers, not as rescuer and victim, but as bonded souls. Something ancient, something real. A flying vessel waited beyond the trees. The emergency signal from Jason's ship had finally reached the orbiting Terran patrol, but Jason didn't rush toward it. He turned to Velia. What happens now? She smiled. Now you live with me. Here, Jason chuckled. You sure you want a human around this quiet planet? She took his hand softly. Always. He looked once more at the sanctuary behind them, the garden of statues now peaceful and silent. No more curses, no more guardians, just the memory of a choice that made him more than just human. It made him hers. And as they walked away, the forest sang again. For the first time in 1,000 years, the end.